Hello everyone and welcome back to another EV Geek podcast review. He is Sebastian, I am Joel, and this is a 2025 Ford F-150 Lightning Flash Edition. So once again, huge shout out to Everett Ford of Benton for letting us borrow this for a little bit to see what the kind of changes that were coming for 2025 from the 2024 year. Sebastian, first impressions.
Yeah, so if you've been on our channel for a little bit, you know we've driven a F-150 Lightning Flash, and not that long ago.
Yes.
It was in like February. That was a 2024 model year. And why are we doing another Flash so soon? Yeah. In that video, we called out a couple things that we'd like to see on the Flash to really solidify that this is the trim level to buy. And they've done basically all of that on this trim level.
They have.
And so I'm excited to go over some of that with y'all and kind of show y'all what's different for this model year, as well as just to drive a Lightning. I love the Lightning. The Lightning is a great truck. It's a great like electric full-size truck. Because it's an F-150.
Yep.
Ford knows how to make a full-size truck.
They do.
And they didn't do anything outrageous and crazy on this one. They made it electric.
Yep.
And anyway,
we'll always forget. Like I said, I always forget when both of us have been truck owners, and we've gotten in this truck. We just realize after driving it how much we miss driving trucks.
Yeah.
So, as always, with all of our other reviews, we will do a quick walk around tour. We'll hop inside, check out interior, infotainment, driving, and then head back over to Everett for our final thoughts. So, stay tuned. All right, Sebastian, let's do a quick outside tour of the 2025 F-150 Lightning Flash Edition.
Yeah, so the outside is where you will see the least amount of changes versus the previous model year. So coming around front, still have a CCS port here. This is the first time I've actually noticed that they give you a little indent of where to push built into the F-150 Lightning logo. You'll see here, CCS port still, not NACS yet. However, is compatible with Tesla superchargers. And these come standard from factory now. They charge at 500 amps. They do the F-150 Lightning charge curve, which is they boost for around 10 minutes at 500 amps and then drop down. But the nice thing about that is you can get that 500 amps pretty much anywhere in the pack. So if you stop at a charger at 30% and plug in, you're going to get 500 amps for up to maybe 10 minutes. If you stop at 10%, 500 amps. Like, it's a very easy to charge vehicle because the curve is predictable. They're adding that 500 amps to previous model years over the year updates. I've seen it all the way down to like 2022 model year trucks. But the way Ford kind of handles their over updates is a little weird. It comes into there's a bunch of different module manufacturers and all that, and kind of getting them to all speak together and work together seems to be a bit of a struggle. But these come standard with that update, which is nice. Coming around the outside, you can see you've got your passive door lock and entry on all four doors, which is nice. Not all four doors, sorry, front doors only. Coming around back, you've got beautiful Lightning badge, manual tailgate, and it is not assisted either. This one has the plastic bed liner in it, so you get these interesting little flaps. This one does have the 7.2 kilowatt in the bed of exportable power, Pro Power, as well as bed lights, and you've got another little flap here that has a little...
It's accessory ready.
Yep. For adding things. I believe there's like wiring in there and whatnot.
So you do not get the rear light bar in the back.
No rear light bar on Flash. I do want to see, let's look at the sticker real quick. I do not remember. Okay, yeah, so the Pro Power is an option on Flash. I feel like it should be standard. That's one place I feel like they should make that standard, especially on this trim. It's a $1,200 option.
And the MSRP for this is $71,700.
$71,700, yes, with those options.
Yep.
Coming in, this is where you see your first change for 2025 model year on Flash trim. You now have leather seats.
Yes, and that's one thing we mentioned in our video.
They call it it's ActiveX is technically what they call it, but you can see you've got your rear climate down there. You've got
a 120.
A 120 outlet.
And I'm assuming you have USBs behind here, but we're not going to take that sticker off.
Yeah, I was actually wanting to take the sticker off because I don't remember, do you get heated seats in the back?
Let's check. I'll just move it for the back. It just has USB-Cs back.
Okay. I couldn't remember if the Flash gets heated seats or not in the back, which is fine. This is kind of the in-between spec, right? You get the Lariat if you want truly all the luxury options. One thing that has changed that it's technically on the outside and I didn't talk about when we were on the front. This is a Job 2 truck. So at the beginning of the 2025 model year, these had the same battery pack in them as before. They now have a slightly smaller battery pack, 123 kilowatt hours.
Used to be 131, correct?
Used to be 131.
Yep.
And because of that, they now have 300 miles of range instead of 320 miles of range. As far as I know, there's no chemistry change or anything like that. They just made the battery a little smaller only on this trim level. A little weird.
Yep.
Don't quite fully understand it. One other thing that the Lightning does awesome, and we talk about this every time, front trunk is huge.
Yes, it is.
I believe Lightning still has the biggest front trunk of all the pickup trucks. You can see since we have the Pro Power, you have your 2.4 kilowatts of power up here. Nice. You've got your access here for, okay, it's fighting.
That's your
12
12 volt
batteries back
access,
there.
yes.
You have a little bit of underfloor here that you can
Drain too,
use.
if you want to put some ice in there or something. Yep.
Oh, the backside does come off. No, it doesn't. That's just a mat. Anyway, but yeah, and it does have a drain, which is nice, so you can fill it up with ice and serve shrimp or whatever.
Cold sodas.
And you have lights as well, which is nice.
Shrimp.
Shrimp.
Throw some cold shrimp in there. Why not? Throw some cocktail
I
shrimp in
think
there.
there's a promotional picture from Mach-E where they did like shrimp in the front of a Mach-E.
I don't know if I would be eating shrimp out of a car.
Anyway, not a whole lot else I want to talk about here on the outside other than, I mean, the Lightning looks like an F-150. It looks good. You've got the light bar across the front, which is standard on the Flash trim and XLT. You don't get the light bar on the Pro work truck version. And yeah, I don't have really anything else to talk about on the outside. Should we hop in and talk about a couple little changes they made to the inside?
Let's hop in, drive it around, and head on back. On a hot summer day here in Arkansas, we have made it to the interior, the cool interior of the F-150 Lightning Flash. Sebastian, walk through some of the things you noticed and some of the changes you see.
Yeah, so just right off the bat. So Ford still puts the weird shifter in. Not weird.
Yeah.
It folds down for a reason. Except in the Flash, they got rid of the ability to do the work table.
Did they do that in all the models or just the Flash?
I think it's the Flash and just no longer comes with it standard.
Okay.
You can still get it on the Lariat and the Platinum, of
Gotcha.
course. But I'm pretty certain now they just took it off the Flash and
Okay.
probably the XLT.
Gotcha.
So that's a bit of an interesting change. Otherwise, this layout is pretty much identical to what we had on the previous truck. You know, they didn't do anything like Mach-E and move the shifter around or anything like that. This has Blue Cruise 1.4, which does not do automatic lane changes. The Blue Cruise numbering and lineup across the models is a little bit weird to me, because like this is a brand new truck and it comes with 1.4, but this Mach-E of the same year is 1.5,
It has
and
one.
1.5 does auto lane changes and 1.4 doesn't. And some trucks are still rocking like 1.2, but it's all over their update anyway.
Yeah.
Ford and their OTA updates seem to need a little love, a little
Yeah.
help. But that's not the subject of this video. You still have your 120 on the outlet on the dash, as well as
Love how you get the two.
12 volt. You just pointed out you have your upper center glove box and lower glove box. You also still get this gigantic glove box. You don't get a work surface, but you could put like, I don't know,
The
you could
six-pack.
put a 12 pack of soda in there.
12 pack of pop.
Which, I mean, cool. Come on, the infotainment system, this is largely the same as before. However, you do now have the ability in the public charging app. Once it loads, you can come in here, you can see it will actually let you tell it whether or not you have an NACS adapter, so you can see Tesla superchargers and stuff like that. You can also, the navigation will now route automatically to Tesla superchargers, which it didn't do in the previous model years. Should be over-the-air updatable to previous model years, but Ford really hasn't said yet. Wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, of course. You can come in here, you can finally set, as we mentioned on our Mach-E video, which I don't know which order I'm going to release these, so that might not mean anything. You can actually set just a target charge limit. It's not like a one-time limit or anything. Previously, this was location-based. You could set like 80% at home, 80% at work, whatever like that. But now you can just boom, and you can see how they kind of communicate daily charge limit versus trip charge limit. So they recommend a 90% for daily limit because these things have gigantic buffers.
Yes.
You can also come in here, you can adjust your AC charge speed down to 5 amps, which is nice. 48 amps on the Flash. You can get 80 amps, I believe, on the Platinum still, and on the Pro model if you order it as a fleet vehicle. Come in here, you still have your 360 cameras, and you can see you get a bunch of views on this one that you didn't necessarily get on the like we didn't see on the Mach-E. Obviously, like you have a bed view here. You can also get that to look at your rear view. You can add trailer cameras. You can do a hitch ball view down the sides. Nice to have. And then you can come in here and you can hit the little zoom. And you can kind of zoom in on individual corners, as well as you have a button here to turn on or off your parking sensors. Come up here. You can see, I believe this is new for 2025. You now have a slippery drive mode, which automatically disables one pedal drive and tells you, hey, you have to hit the brake to slow down. And is mainly, it's just a different traction control profile. You also still have your off-road mode, tow haul, Sport, and Normal. These things have plenty of power.
Yes.
These things are quick, especially with the big battery and all that. Come here, your driver assistance. This is where you can kind of see, again, Blue Cruise 1.4. The system needs a processor update.
It does. It's a little slow. It's a little slow processing.
It works and it's fine, but like you just hit things sometimes, you're like, why is this loading?
Yeah.
Why does it take a second? So you can see here, you have lane change assist, but you don't have automatic lane changing. So lane change assist, you can hit, and it'll tell you, if you hit the turn signal while Blue Cruise is activated, it will change lanes, but it won't just do it automatically, get around a car like the Mach-E does now. You have tons of settings here. I don't remember, I think the Flash still doesn't get phone as a key. I think you have to get up to the Lariat to add phone as a key. But then Mach-E, it's standard across the line.
I believe that's what we saw in the Chris Bud video. When he had the Platinum, he had the phone as a key.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Which again, that's just a weird,
Yeah.
why not have phone as a key completely on the line, or across the line?
It's just a software issue. So
it's like, I love Lightning, but sometimes there's like little decisions in here, and I'm like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Again, this has route planning. I don't believe we'll be able to activate it because it is not tied to a Ford Connected Services account. I can't remember what they call it. Yeah, it's not letting me do anything, which is what it is. These do route planning though.
we do have an issues with route planning if you're not logged in the system on a wide variety of cars that we review.
Ford vehicles do on-route preconditioning. They do not have a way currently for you to do manual preconditioning. You can on Lightning finally see what speed you're charging at, which is nice. It comes up on the screen over here if you're plugged into a charger.
That's been a main complaint for a while.
That's been a complaint on Lightning for a while. Otherwise, not a whole lot else to talk about in here. You can see right now, this is using Guessometer. It says 85% is 245 miles. EPA rating on this is 300 miles at a full charge because it's a 123 kilowatt hour pack instead of a 131 found in the other 2025 Lightnings with the extended range battery. That's such a weird change to me.
It is.
I don't get it. I know it'll cost save. I'm sure it's cost saving and it saves them a couple $100 per truck or whatever, but it's just odd because it's not even a chemistry change. It's just less modules. Anyway. Are we ready to take it for a spin?
Yep, let's get out of this parking lot and we'll join you a bit once we are on the main road. Alrighty, Sebastian is behind the wheel. We are driving through the lovely city of Benton right now. We are in Benton, right?
We're in that weird in-between area.
We're in that weird in-between area here where all the cities kind of meld together. What do you notice about the handling, Sebastian?
Yeah, so I mean, this drives like we've known Lightning to drive before, where it drives very similar to a gas F-150. Not a bad thing.
As we go through a series of like 5 roundabouts.
Yeah, we have like 5 roundabouts here in the road. The suspension is soft. It's got a lot of, you can feel it has a lot of squish to it because it's designed to have weight in the bed. That said, it rides more composed than the gas F-150 because A, it's independent on the rear instead of leaf springs, and it has a little more weight, which helps kind of smooth it out some. Coming around here, city roads, we've not been driving anything too fast.
You can't squeal the tires on these very easily.
We can squeal the tires on Lightning
we don't
really
know that.
Easily. We've just, in previous experiences, we have experienced that. I think we drove that 2022 Platinum that one time. That first time I was in a Lightning and I put a little more goose into it than I meant to.
That's the one at the other dealership, yes. So yes.
And and I was like, oh! Anyway.
You realize that would happen, yes.
Because you don't think, because this is a big truck and they're heavy. Like you don't expect them to give you that much oomph, but they do. These have plenty of power.
So a real quick review of the changes from 2025 to 24. What are they?
Okay, so the big thing on Lightning, especially for this trim level, you have leather seats now instead of cloth on the outgoing seats. After sitting in the leather, I kind of think I might like cloth.
Yeah.
I might like the cloth a little bit more. I think in our original video and when I came into this, it's like, oh, the leather is obviously an upgrade, which for most people it will be. I think I'm just weird and I might like the cloth a little bit more. I am a certified, as we've mentioned before, I am a sweaty person.
Yes.
And so the leather, it kind of feels like it gets a little sticky to me sometimes, especially on days like this where it's 90 degrees outside.
And this is heated, not cold.
And they're they are heated seats, no cooled seats on the Flash trim. Yep. But so you've got that. You've got the charging update, which is also trickling down to previous model years. The ability to route to Tesla superchargers in the nav, which should trickle down, just hasn't yet. And the ability to actually set a charge limit, just a global charge limit, are huge updates. I do think it's a little weird that they removed the work surface out of these, but left the funky shifter. I've seen where a lot of people who have Lightnings are they're taking the shifter out and putting the knob from the Mach-E in.
Someone's with it and go with the stock like the Mach-E has.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't because really when we drove the Mach-E, I really liked using the stock. I thought that was a good, because then they were able to reconfigure the center console to give you more
And
storage.
as someone coming from a Tesla, that's
right. That's what you're used to.
My wife has the middle console gear shifter, which is a little weird for me.
Yeah. But yeah, so road noise is fine. It rides, it feels to me about the same as the previous model years did, where it's quiet. You know, we're talking regular volume, not anything too crazy. We're about to get out here on the interstate so I can turn on some Blue Cruise. Let me get over and get merged. Bestie, let me merge. I'm gonna turn on Adaptive Cruise. You see it automatically set to 66 because that's the speed we were going. I'm gonna bump it up a little bit to 70. And we should feel it. It should kick on automatically here in a second if it works the way it did in the Mach-E. So it says it's doing lane keep right now, but it has hands on.
Yeah, I see the lane keep down there.
Blue Cruise on. There we
go.
And you can see it comes up hands free. Watch the road. Be prepared to resume control. And so yeah, then this is where again. This will not do automatic lane changes currently. I'm sure these trucks will get the update to 1.5. The question is when. Because that is one thing that's nice, you know, like I can come up here and I can tap the turn signal. Oh, tap it, not and it, boom, we're automatically lane changing, which is nice.
But it's nice to have the auto lane change.
But it's nice for if you're coming up on a car that's slow, it automatically get over and then get back over.
Yep.
Which Blue Cruise seems to do a good job. Like on the Mach-E, it seemed to do a good job of saying, hey, you're in the left lane, automatically getting you back over to the middle. Things like that. I'm gonna bump the air down. I'm a little warm.
We're up to 91 already, folks, and it's not even 11 a.m.
It's not even 11 o'clock yet. But yeah, I mean, out here on the highway, otherwise, this is a cruiser.
Yeah.
And they charge pretty decently. You know, it's a big battery. I think 10 to 80 is still somewhere close to 40 minutes, which is slow, but that's about normal for these trucks.
But you could easily do a road trip in this car.
Oh yeah, because you also don't have to necessarily charge to 80% every time. But at the same time, the Lightning charge curve really, because it's so consistent, it rewards you for charging at all the way to 80%.
Yeah.
And honestly, in the Lightning, you're probably a little better off if you don't pull up to chargers at 10% or 1%. You know, if you pull up to a charger at 15-20, because pack voltage will be higher, and you'll be at 500 amps at closer to 400 volts instead of 500 amps at 300 volts. You know, you'll be able to get just a little bit more kilowatts in there. But yeah, these are good cruisers. They are. You know, this is a car I could see myself daily driving.
Yes.
No issue.
And I think we said before, the Flash is like the perfect model.
Yeah, it adds in pretty much most of the stuff you want. I do wish you could get phone as key.
Yep. And like I said before, I wish you could get the light bar in the back.
And you wish you could get the light bar. For me, that doesn't bother me that much because I sit inside my cars when I drive them. I don't look at the outside of my car while I'm driving.
Let me know if you can't do that. Let me know how that works out for you.
Yeah. I do also appreciate, you can see here because we've got this semi truck we're kind of passing, and he's a little all over his lane, which I don't love passing on the right, but at the same time I'm just doing the speed limit, so like it is what it is.
He's doing the slows.
You can do in lane repositioning and it doesn't disengage the hands free. Like,
so if you need to scoot over to the
so
right,
like I was able to just scooch there for a little bit. And
but I like the feature in the Tesla that automatically does that for you when you're going around something like that. It moves you closer, it gets you to that closest to that line as possible.
Yeah. But I do at least appreciate that it doesn't just completely disable hands-free until you let go of the wheel and then re-engage it again. We're going to hop off the highway here, turn around, head back to the dealership, do our final thoughts. But overall, I mean, if you want leather seats,
if that's a deal breaker
if that's a big deal for you, you buy the 2025. If you don't, find you a 2024.
They're still on the lots out there.
They're still out there. You can still find them. These do qualify for federal tax credit, $7,500, as long as it stays around.
While it lasts, yes.
Which it currently is still around as of recording. We'll see by the time this releases.
That is true.
But yeah, I mean, these honestly are a pretty dang good bargain. You know, yeah, Silverado EV has more range, but they don't.
It's also $30,000 more, $20,000.
They tend to be a little bit more expensive. You know, Cybertruck has a little more. Does Cybertruck have more range? I don't think Cybertruck has more range.
Not much.
And they're around the same price. And they look like a Cybertruck. I'm not saying good or bad, just they look like a Cybertruck. This looks like a normal truck.
It's not going to stand out. Won't drive you down the road. The F-150 Lightning, like a Cybertruck would.
The Cybertruck does potentially have FSD though.
Yes.
And will drive itself on any road, not just interstates.
That's right.
Well, loosely drive itself.
All right, we're going to do a U-turn and head on back to Everett Ford, and we'll wrap up and do our final thoughts. So see you in a bit. All right, we've made it back here to Everett Ford here in Benton, Arkansas. Huge shout out to the entire team here. Both these cars today were ready. outside clean for us
Keys
to take.
in them.
Keys in them. We were ready to go. They said, go, get it done. So, like we said, we've driven Flashes before. We've driven multiple F-150 Lightnings before. What's your impression of this one?
Yeah, I mean, Lightning is a good truck. You know, there's a reason why everyone who I know of who owns a Lightning loves it. You know, and they're very vocal about how much they love their trucks.
They love their groups online, yes.
And you know, this is the main thing on this was that it's a slightly different battery. You get leather seats, and there's a couple like software changes or whatever that are nice. You know, there's not that much different over like 2024 model year. That said, most of the all of the changes I feel like are for good. Whether or not you want the leather seats is a personal decision. I wish they were ventilated, but get a Lariat.
Yep.
That's what Ford's going to tell you too. And yeah, I mean, Lightning drives great. It has decent range. It has plenty of power. It's got good towing, like good tow rating, whatot. It doesn't
this comes with the Ford on Pro Power, right?
Yes, it has Pro Power, which we didn't really talk about on the inside. But you know, you have 9.6 kilowatts of exportable power from this thing. You can also do, if you have the Ford Charge Station Pro, I believe is what it's called, the home unit, where if you buy all the gear that goes with it, you can have this plugged into your charger at home. Oh, power goes out. It'll automatically kick on Pro Power through the DC port or through your CCS port to your charger at home, kick on whatever, and now you're running your house off the truck at up to, I believe it's the 9.6 kilowatts of power. Just boom, automatically power comes back on. It'll switch back to your house power, does whatever. I don't think it's very fast. I think it's got a little bit of a slow transition, but it does it. You have backup power.
Yep. We averaged 2.4 miles on this trip, which isn't bad for a truck.
Which really isn't bad at all. How far did we drive? Let's see. 15 miles?
Yep.
Okay. That's not terrible. And it says 3% of our use is because it's hot outside.
It's hot.
It is warm. But yeah, I mean, these things, they drive great. They're comfortable. These are good road trippers. You know, the charge curves is predictable. Their charge behavior is
it's not going to go up and down, up and down. It's going to get up there and stay flat pretty well.
You pretty much know, like when you plug into it, you know, okay, I'm going to get 190 kilowatts for about 10 minutes, and it's going to drop down and follow a normal curve.
Yep.
And it does that every time. It doesn't matter if it's hot. It doesn't matter if it's cold.
And it doesn't matter what state of charge you usually plug into.
Yeah, they're very predictable, which is awesome.
Yep. All right, thank you all again for joining us on another EV Geek Studio review. As always, before you leave, hit that subscribe button and that notification icon so you know when reviews like this come out, and we will see you again on another EV Geek Studio review. So long, everyone.